My cleanup service. That's the price that it costs to go fishing. He has to clean out the 4Runner before we go every time. That I'm telling him that's my charge for taking you fishing is cleaning out the 4Runner every time we go.
Hey, that's an awful wide turn there, son.
Yeah. We all make mistakes in there. Let's pull it up.
Thank God it's a double lane highway here.
On the GPS here.
Take me into a foreign land.
Yeah. So I was going through Google Maps earlier today and I found a new pond to go to, which is only like 3 miles from the house. Not sure how, I didn't know about it before, but we're gonna go try it out. What I've seen in the past was guys pulled some pretty nice largemouth out of there. So we're gonna see if we can't throw some frogs around since it's a little bit later in the evening, around frog biting time, and try to catch some largies. So we'll see you guys out there. So we just got out here to this lake here and it was a little troublesome to find. Took us a little while to figure it out, but we got it. I don't have mine either.
Well, it looks like there's some activity there on the surface of the water.
There's a bass right out there.
Yeah, well, let's get busy.
There's quite a few of them in here. I don't know if those are carp or if they're bass. What you throw out that?
Frog.
Is that a bass or a carp right there?
Where?
To your right of your line. That's a carp.
Is it?
Gotta be. If it was a bass, it's pretty big.
Did you have one strike?
I did.
Huh?
I did. I can't fucking see a goddamn thing. I'm running back and getting my glasses real quick. I'm like lost without them. You had one blow up on a frog just a little bit ago.
A lot of carp out there.
Yeah? Is it? I don't know. I think it was a bass that blew up on what he had.
Yeah. Do you guys have a key?
Nah.
No. I gotta lock the gate up, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming in here.
What's that?
Coming in here.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta lock up here.
Alrighty.
What time's the gate open?
What's that?
What time's the gate open, or
It's not.
it's not
It's
open?
only open because of the
Okay, I got you.
night.
Gotcha. What's up, guys? So as you can see, we got kicked out of there. So I don't know what the deal was with that place. It's a public place to fish, but they lock the gate and they don't want to unlock it unless they're doing some sort of event, I guess, whatever. So I figured it would be a perfect opportunity for me to do basically a layout of what I'm working with as far as rods and reel combos for the 2019 season. So we'll go ahead and get right into it. First of all, we're going to talk about my jigging rod. This is a Lew's TP1 speed stick. This is a 7.3 with heavy power and a fast taper tip. I'm running 40-pound braided on this. That way, if I'm getting snagged up in the heavy cover that I'm flipping into, I'm going to be able to pull that jig through without snapping off. It's not necessarily, some people are like, oh, 40-pound braid, you got way too much on there. You know, that's way too heavy. You're not planning on catching a 40-pound bass. Well, no, I'm not planning on catching a 40-pound bass, but it's for the environment that I'm fishing in. So I'm flipping into heavy cover, I'm flipping into down trees, I'm flipping into real thick grass and stuff like that. So with a 8 to 10 pound bass on the other end of that, there's a potential for breaking off. So you want to have a heavy braid with your jigging rod, not for the fish alone, but for the fish and the environment that you're fishing in. On that rod, I'm fishing a Abu Garcia Black Max. The gear ratio on this is a 6:4 to 1, so it's a little bit slower than I'd like for jig fishing, but it seems to work out fine. I haven't fished this a whole lot this year because I've kind of switched up my style. I'm fishing more finesse and trying to become a better fisherman in that aspect. So the jig rod hasn't gotten a lot of action, but it has caught me a few fish this year, so it's done its job so far. Next up is a Shimano Celis. This is my crankbait rod. They had like a special deal on these Shimano Celises. They were running like $29 or something like that, but they were originally like 90 or something. And so I picked up a bunch of them. I got like 5 of them when I first started buying rod and reel combos for my new bass fishing hobby. So I run this as my crankbait rod. The rod itself is 7 foot. It's a medium heavy with a fast taper tip. So this rod and reel combo is the most excellent combination that I've ever run for crankbait. This thing casts a freaking country mile. It's got a nice slow retrieval, so I'm getting plenty of action out of these crankbaits, and it just does what it's supposed to do. So nothing's going to change with this combo. This is going to be my go-to square bill, my go-to red eye shad, whatever type of crankbait I'm throwing. This is the rod that I'm going to be throwing it on. I said this was a medium heavy, but honestly it feels more like a medium. I don't know what it is. It's either the fact that it might be a medium heavy and it just has an extra fast tip, even though it says it's a fast tip. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't feel like a regular medium heavy fast taper tip. Next up is another Shimano Celis. This is their shaky head rod. They designed it specifically for shaky heads. So this is a 7'1" medium action with an extra fast taper. So you're getting a really good action out of those shaky heads as you're dragging them across the bottom. I'm actually running 2 shaky head combos right now. One with just a fast taper tip, so I'm getting more abrupt action out of it, whereas I'm getting more of like a dance with this extra fast rod. On this rod I have a Creed GT. This is made by 1-3 Fishing. Pretty fast reel. It's like a 6.2 to 1, I believe. I'm not 100%, it's not on here, but I believe it's like a 6.2 to 1 or 6.3 to 1 even. But a very, very fast reel for a spinning reel. And I think I forgot to tell you guys what the reel on my crankbait rod was, but this is an Okuma Stratus V. I used to hate that reel. Hated it until I started using it as a crankbait reel, and now it's by far one of my favorites that I have, and that's like a $50 box reel from Dick's Sporting Goods or something like that. Next up is one of my first rods that I bought coming into the bass fishing game. This is a Lew's Carbon Blue GT. It's like a $90 combo that you can get at Dick's Sporting Goods, and if you're just coming into fishing, this is perfectly fine. You don't have to go out and buy the hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of poles. First of all, first and foremost, I recommend learning each individual style of bass fishing before going out and spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on rods and reels, because it doesn't matter. As long as you've got a good rod and a good reel, and you're going to catch fish. You know, it's all about the learning process of getting there, and then one day move up to the higher stuff. So, of course, with the combos, you've got the blue carb or Carbon Blue GT. That's also what they call the reel. It's a 7:1 to 1 ratio, and what I'm throwing on this combo is mostly chatterbaits and spinnerbaits. That's just about it. It just gives them a really good speed and a good action coming through the water, and they just turn a lot of fish. So I'm perfectly happy with only throwing those two things on this rod. So this is a medium heavy with a fast taper tip. So it's just, I don't know, it just works really well for me for what I'm using it for. Bladed jigs and bladed baits. So up next is another Shimano Celis. This is their worm and jig rod. This rod comes in at 6/8, so it's a little bit shorter. It's a medium action with an extra fast taper, so it's basically a smaller version of the Celis shaky head rod. But what I'm throwing on this one is weightless finesse, so like weightless bandito bugs, weightless Senkos, weightless finesse worms, so on and so forth, wacky worms. I also use this rod for drop shot. But yeah, this one also has the 1.3 Creed GT on it. Big fan of those reels. Plus, they had a really good deal on them, so I bought all of them. No, I bought 3 of them. But I like the way they are. I like the way they cast, and I like the retrieval speed on them. Like I said, for the finesse, you want a faster reel for your slower baits, and then you want a slower reel for your faster baits. Bass fishing's a freaking science, guys, and you can spend your whole life studying it. There's new things that come out every single year, and it's just, that's kind of the fun of it, for me at least. But up next is the very first rod that I bought coming into this bass fishing game. This is a Lew's Mach 1 speed spool. Great rod, man. I have never had an issue out of it. I have beat the living dog shit out of this thing, and it keeps coming back for more. The only thing about it now, being 3 years old, is the bearings have a little bit of a noise to them, but it's nothing significant. It's not affecting the distance of the cast. It's not affecting how smooth I'm reeling in. It's a pretty outstanding reel in my opinion. So this is a it's a 6'10". I'm sorry, I lied. It's a 6'10" heavy, medium heavy action with a fast taper tip. I'm using this rod, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, don't do that, you know, but I'm using this rod mostly for frogs and punching. I'm running only 30-pound braided on there, where some people are also going to be like, you should run 60-pound braided. I get that, I understand, but I'm happy with what I'm running here. So it hasn't done me wrong yet. I've never broken off a 30-pound braid. But yeah, so that's my frog rod, and I use it for a lot of topwater, actually, not just frogs. So like whopper ploppers, spooks, frogs, just about anything that I'm pushing across the top of the water. Yeah, so that's that. And these are my two newest new rod and reels. So the first one is brand new. I just bought it yesterday. This is a 1.3-5 black rod, 7'3", so it's got some length to it. That's as long as my jig rod, and it just has a very ergonomic handle on it. You can feel just about everything on this. So it's 7'3", medium heavy with a fast tip, and like I said, you can just feel about everything on it. So what I'm running with this rod is mostly going to be like my weighted finesse. So my shaky heads, my drop shots, my Texas rig, Carolina rig, Alabama rig, so on and so forth, blah blah blah. All that stuff is what is being run with this. This one also has a Creed GT on it, and like I said, the reason I'm running those Creed GTs on all my spinning is because every single one of them is being used as a finesse rod of some sort. So I've got this fast reel to catch up with it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it so far. It has really good feeling, but we shall see when it starts catching fish if it's really worth the money. Those were on sale too, so of course I had to pick up two of them, and I needed a bait casting finesse rod, so I bought another 1.3-5. This one is 7'3" also, with a medium heavy and fast tip. So it's basically that spinning rod in a bait casting form, and I'm basically doing the same thing with this rod as what I'm doing with that rod, weighted finesse. So Texas rig, Alabama rig. I'll probably run like a shaky head on that one and a Texas rig on this one, but with this reel I can also go weightless with it too. So it just depends situationally where I'm fishing, what I'm fishing for, blah 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 blah. There's a lot that goes into it, guys, and I'm by far no scientist. I'm just here to buy the rods and go out and have some fun. So that's my lineup for this year, guys, and like I said, if you guys are interested in any of those, all excellent rods. Haven't had an issue out of any of them. No tippet malfunctions, no eyelet malfunctions, no rods breaking. I'm also super careful with my rods and reels to make sure that they don't get broken. I've been doing this for 3 years, buying expensive ass rods, and I haven't broken one yet, so knock on wood. Yeah, so that's that, guys. It's getting dark and I'm gonna close it up. So I really appreciate you guys coming and checking us out, watching the videos, subscribing, liking, so on and so forth. You guys are awesome. Keep that up. Hit that like and subscribe button down below if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.